All right, it's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for Cin-Emma Extra. And if you're maybe trying to escape the heat, it is going to be a bit hot, maybe a little bit hot. You can try to cool off instead by bringing the heat to the smaller big screen.
That's right. Find some AC, pop your popcorn, and tune in. There's been seeing a growing trend of women taking the lead in some action flicks. So our resident movie buff, Emma Jerome, joining us now with a look at some new titles featuring leading ladies. Good morning, Emma.
Good morning. I feel like over the last few weeks, I have watched so much TV and so many movies, and I'm talking more than I normally watch, which maybe
it's already a lot.
I know, maybe we're like fringing on a problem, but it's okay because you all will be better for it. So let's talk about streaming. So new to Netflix this week is Trigger Warning.
Senator
Parker, welcome back. People like you around here. They like Harry, or they liked him. I'd like to keep it that way.
I don't think his death was an accident.
Parker, stay out of it. See if there's a safe.
My femme fatale fascination will never die. Trigger Warning follows a skilled special forces commando as she takes ownership of her father's bar after he suddenly dies. She soon finds herself at odds with a violent gang running rampant in her hometown. It stars Jessica Alba, and I love seeing Jessica Alba back on the big screen. I have always been such a big fan of hers, but I haven't seen a lot of her recently. I also loved her press tour. She was talking all the time about enjoying working with a mainly female crew and how it was a refreshing experience. Trigger Warning currently streaming on Netflix. What was funny is she was saying, despite it being an action film, which is loud and crash, bang, boom, she's like, it was just quieter having a mostly female crew. She's like, no one was just yelling for no reason. It was,
Hey!
yeah, I think that, yeah. Hey, yeah, Travis, your comedic timing is impeccable.
I tried.
Well, it looks like a good one. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Check it out for sure.
That's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix right now, and it is an easy watch. And, you know, going to the theaters might be a good idea for this weekend. It is going to be very warm, and this year has been filled with movies based on true stories with some liberties taken. And this one is the latest. This is The Bike Riders.
They don't belong nowhere else, so they belong together.
But you're the man in charge. I'm Johnny. We're the Mad Dogs. I'm Benny. I like you guys.
In 1967, photographer Danny Lyon published a photo book after following the Outlaws Motorcycle Club founded in McCook, Illinois. And this photo book tells the stories with a few excerpts and some pictures of a band of brothers who, when they felt they had no one, they found each other. So sit back and enjoy this road to nowhere. It is a less plot-driven film and more of just falling in love with the characters. You go to this movie for the storytelling, the history, and yes, the loud vroom vroom of some pretty cool choppers. And I will say, I went to see this movie last night, and the crowd did run the full gamut, and I really, really enjoyed this movie, despite the incessant, misogynistic, homophobic, and overall disparaging chirps from the peanut gallery sitting directly next to me. So now I'm thinking one of these weeks I need to do a theater etiquette edition of Cin-Emma Extra, starring Jodie Comer, Tom Hardy, and Austin Butler. The Bike Riders is in theaters right now.
Ooh, bad theater goers. That is a pet peeve.
Yeah.
I will say it was a less than pleasant experience, but I would go back to see this movie to maybe pay more attention to what was happening on screen and not just like white knuckling my theater seat or my giant Dr. Pepper trying to.
That is tough.
That's why you got to get the extra large popcorn so you can throw it at the people.
Yeah, just, hey, you in front.
They didn't have enough popcorn. I was like, please just stop talking. But it's okay. It was a really good movie, and it really, I guess, maybe goes to show that it was for everyone because it was really cool. Tom Hardy, Austin Butler, of course, fantastic actors. Jodie Comer really stood out, and that it takes me to my next point, because we're talking about range. Jodie Comer, I think I've seen her use 4 different languages, 6 different accents. I could not tell you where this woman is actually from because she's so good at all of them, and the characters she plays are never carbon copies of one another. So the first recommendation I have for you, taking a little look back, is Killing Eve. This series follows a British intelligence investigator tasked with capturing a psychopathic assassin. As the chase progresses, the two develop a mutual obsession for one another. Starring Jodie Comer and Sandra Oh. You can Sandra Oh. You can stream Killing Eve on Netflix right now. And the next is a movie. It's Free Guy, and this one may have gone under your radar during pandemic times because it was just as theaters were semi-reopening. It tells the story of a bank teller, played by Ryan Reynolds, who discovers that he is actually a non-playable character in a massively popular online video game. So then he partners with a player, played by Jodie Comer, to find evidence that the gaming company's CEO actually stole the player's source game code. So starring Ryan Reynolds and Jodie Comer, you can stream Free Guy on Disney Plus and Hulu right now. And that was a few years ago I went to see it, maybe like 3 years.
Yeah.
And I still remember how good it was because, you know, movies weren't really coming out because it was the pandemic and people didn't want their movies to flop. But this one was really, really good. They're making a second one, so it was obviously good enough to make a
cool.
sequel.
That is cool.
I remember watching that. I think I waited till it was either like on an airplane or streaming, and because at first I was like, oh, video game movie, it's not really my thing. No, it's actually like the story, the acting.
It's a comedy.
It's a really fun.
Yeah, I kind of had
movie.
the same thing. Where, I mean, I'm sure many people will typically watch a Ryan Reynolds movie because
sure.
he's obviously so talented and so funny. But I kind of went into it with no expectations, and I laughed. I laughed a ton. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, well, watch them.
Okay,
you go.
we'll watch them.
We gotta watch them, and we gotta catch up on our new stuff. So thank you for my weekend recommendations.
All right.